live webcast at Spectrum360media.com. Remember, Spectrum 360, news, politics, from a creative and progressive point of view.
Hey, you new to the area or just want to know about the best hidden gems and upcoming events? Stay tuned. Be Local Buzz with Devin takes you to these places, introduces you to the best businesses, and tells you about upcoming buzz. Preset your radio to TAN Talk 1340 AM or 106.1 FM every Thursday from 4 to 5. That is the Be Local Buzz with Devin on TAN Talk 1340 AM and 106 FM every Thursday from 4 to 5. Looking forward to speaking with you.
This is the TAN Talk Radio Network.
It's time for the Kelly Show. Kelly is an award-winning photographer and the owner of the website iloveclearwater.com. Doug is the author of 4 published books and a contributing editor for Florida Sportsman magazine. And now, here they are.
It's nice to have you with us on the Kelly Show. I'm joined by Big Ed Davis, the executive producer of the TAN Talk Radio Network. Hi, Ed.
Hey, we survived.
We survived. Yeah. What a week.
Yeah.
So tell me about your week.
Well, you know, it was such a big buildup for what, you know, a lot of people were on edge, whether it was going to be a direct hit or what. And we're talking about Hurricane Helene, of course. Thursday night, we were expecting it to come through. And the only good thing about the storm, it was moving fast.
It was.
At 23 miles an hour.
Okay.
Which normal ones are around 15, 17, somewhere around there. So it was moving fast. The problem is there was so much flooding from, you know, the fact that the water coming in from the Gulf and the tides coming in. And I don't think people were ready for it. And as much as we could say, hey, we're ready for this. But the fact that it was 200 miles offshore and people had false hope about it, or had false security about it.
Right.
Thinking it's offshore. But the problem is when it runs up along the coast, at that time, it's doing nothing but pushing water onshore. And I don't think we were ready for that.
I think we had record surges, right?
Record surges, and I have never seen. I've been going down the beaches for I don't know how long. I've seen them after storms. You know, it's a basic cleanup. But if you go down there today, or if you've seen some of the photos, because the sand is so white, it looks like snow. And the fact that there was one photo of the sand being so high on the road that the fire hydrant barely peeked out above the sand.
Wow.
The top of it, barely. Wow.
So you've been down to the beach.
Yeah. And the bulldozers, of course, like snow, push it off to the side, so you can get the roadway clear. It looks like it looked like Buffalo. Like you had a major snowstorm, both sides of the road, just probably 10 feet high of sand.
Wow.
White sand.
Wow.
Because all that sand, you got to remember, we've been replenishing the beaches for years.
Right.
And this was the one that pushed it all back in again. And it's going to take a while. And then, of course, the flooding, you know, on the barrier islands was bad. And then even if you come across parts of Dunedin with the intercoastal as a bit of a buffer, still they had, you know, a lot of water coming in. A lot of downtown Dunedin was hit. And then you topple with the electricity being out. Here at the radio station, we've been lucky in the past. At 9 p.m., it was 9:05 p.m. Thursday night. Boom, out.
Really?
Yeah, and it did not come back on until Saturday night at about 6 o'clock.
Is that power outage?
That was complete out. But the thing is it was spotty. You know, across the street they had power. Here's the crazy thing: the station was out, the traffic light was out, but the light pole that's in the middle of our parking lot never lost power.
That's strange.
It's on a different grid.
Yeah,
it's on a different grid. So you had coupled with the the power being out all over the place and spotty. And and that people really get angry when they don't have their air conditioning. It'd be better if we can have these storms maybe in February, where it's a little cooler, we can handle it then.
No,
but
September is the hottest month here, I think.
Yeah. And it's the worst month for hurricanes. It's the peak month for hurricanes. But there's nothing you can do. I mean, we continue to build on the beaches. We continue to bring sand in, and that sand has got to go somewhere. And a storm just like that happened showed us what happens. I hate to say this, it probably would have been a little bit better if it was almost a direct hit, because it would have went through and that would have been it. Because we'd had some wind damage, but really I think it was a Category 2 at that time.
Well, I don't know, Ed. Did you see Horseshoe Beach?
Yeah, I know. But but you got to remember, where's Horseshoe? That's up in the.
It's like Perry. And...
Okay, but I'm saying at that time when it was near us, it was Category 2. So it was about 105 miles an hour. It really ramped up by the time it got from there to making landfall at the Category 4. What I'm saying is, if it came on shore, it would have been fast, and we'd have had some damage, but the flooding would have been as extensive as I think it was this last weekend.
I've driven through streets and I've seen entire household goods on the curb. Outside houses. People's lives are on their front lawns right now. Right. You don't have to go far. You don't have to go, of course, to the beaches. Forget it. But if you go up Alternate 19, you go through Dunedin, and then as you get towards right around, say, before the Dunedin Causeway, there's some communities off to the left there towards the coast. All you have to do is just drive down the road. Every house has a pile of history in their front lawn. That's a shame.
Couches, beds, refrigerators. Everything you think of is in their front lawn. And it's not, I went through, I think, 3 streets. I just got so sad about it. I turned around and went around. I didn't find one house that didn't have at least a pile of garbage waiting to be picked up.
And if there wasn't a house, it probably because they haven't gotten to it, or
they haven't gotten to it, or it was empty, one or the other.
Yeah.
But
it's a shame.
And there's nothing we can. People can say, what can we do to learn from this? You can't.
No. Listen,
that's God made, and it's just a part of nature, and it's been doing it for years.
Right. In about 20 minutes, we're going to have our city manager here. Hopefully she's on her way. She'll discuss what's being done to help Clearwater recover, help the beach recover, where you can get help if you need it, where you can donate. I have some information on that as well, but why don't we go first to a commercial break?
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
In 1955, the law firm now known as Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes made a decision. Instead of taking whatever cases came through their doors, they decided to focus specifically on personal injury. 64 years later, the law firm is one of Clearwater's longest-running personal injury firms. Available 24 hours a day, with offices in Clearwater and throughout Tampa Bay, they're ready to put decades of experience to work for you if you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or injured due to someone's negligence or recklessness. If you feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or unsure about your next steps after being involved in an accident, or after a loved one sustained serious injuries due to someone else's negligence, call Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes at 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. That's 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. Non-attorney spokesman.
Shop the largest selection of Guy Harvey apparel, artwork, and gift items at GuyHarvey.com. From the world-renowned marine wildlife artist, the Guy Harvey online shop features the latest in performance apparel, classic Guy Harvey t-shirts, decor for every room in your home, exquisite ocean-inspired jewelry, and unique gift items, including custom merchandise not available anyplace else. Browse an extensive catalog of original Guy Harvey works of art and a full range of beautiful reproductions. As with all Guy Harvey merchandise, a percentage of sales benefits the ocean conservation, research, and education work of the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation. The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation will help ensure that future generations can enjoy and benefit from a well-balanced ocean ecosystem. Bring the undersea world into your everyday life at GuyHarvey.com.
Just about everyone is fascinated by the mafia. Books and movies like The Godfather, Goodfellas, Casino, and many others became bestsellers and box office hits. Did you know that a century ago, mobsters like Al Capone discovered Florida's tropical climate and sparse law enforcement? Mafia bosses from around the nation began setting up illegal operations in Florida. Now, for the first time, a new book titled Sunshine State Mafia, A History of Florida's Mobsters, Hitmen, and Wise Guys provides vivid stories and never-before-seen images of dangerous criminals who settled in Florida full or part-time. Written by renowned author Doug Kelly, Sunshine State Mafia exposes the hidden history of the mob throughout the state and includes Doug's own brushes with crime figures. Sunshine State Mafia is available at all major book retailers, or obtain a signed copy by calling 727-724-4949 or email sunshinestatemafia@gmail.com.
What do the most successful companies have in common? They leverage growth by forming valuable relationships and partnerships. Amplify Clearwater puts you in touch with accomplished business and community leaders that inspires networking and helps you navigate the best courses of action for your company. Become a member and instantly acquire a powerful edge over your competitors by forming strong connections with top business leaders and elected officials. Amplify Clearwater. One community, one chamber, one vision. Contact us at amplifyclearwater.com or call 727-461-0011. That's amplifyclearwater.com. 727-461-0011.
Discover Clearwater like never before with iloveclearwater.com. Whether you're a resident or a visitor, our website is your go-to source for all things Clearwater. Find the best hotels, restaurants, parks, shopping, and events all in one place. Dive into our engaging photos and videos. Explore over 500 informative articles. Visit iloveclearwater.com today and experience the best of Clearwater. iloveclearwater.com, your ultimate guide to Clearwater for fun, sun, and smiles.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Thanks for listening to the Kelly Kelly Show. I'm Kelly Kelly. I'm here with Big Ed Davis in the control room. He's the executive producer of the Kelly Kelly Show, or the Tan Talk Radio Network. We're discussing Hurricane Helene and the damages. We are expecting City Manager Jennifer Poyer in today to discuss what is happening in Clearwater currently, how it's being handled, where you can go for help, how you can volunteer goods and time to clean up. And we're looking forward to talking to her. So hopefully she does make it. And Ed?
I did notice that the newly built sound and everything looked unscathed pretty much.
Right. And that's because of that $1 million wall underneath the ground.
Yeah.
They spent $1 million on that to protect it.
Yep. So it definitely worked.
Yeah.
The landscaping around it still looked unscathed, and
that's great
because there's not a lot of places that managed to get away from it. But it's going to take time. I mean, it's going to be. This is going to. I haven't seen it this bad. I've never seen it this bad, especially what's happened on the beaches itself.
Right. I'm seeing a lot of stories online on social media.
Yeah. Well, what they're saying is just, everybody's lost everything. It's starting over,
Mm-hmm.
All your belongings, everything, you got to throw them out. So I can't imagine what the trash pile at the end of the day is going to look like. It's a landfill.
Yeah. I saw one person complain that they got Assistance rejected. They had an application for FEMA and that got rejected. Well, I'm sure they're saving a lot of it for those serious damages, not just the minor ones.
Yeah,
but
there's going to be there's I think along St. Pete Beach, so some businesses that have been destroyed that just can't be rebuilt. They were old enough to begin with, and the water is inundated with salt water. Everything from you're hearing people, if you have an electric vehicle, don't start it up if it got saltwater damage.
That's right.
That's
right.
crazy. I saw one catch fire in somebody's garage because there was water in there.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of those electric cars that were completely burned up.
So there's a lot of areas that got it hit worse than others. Like I said, downtown Clearwater looks pretty good.
Yeah. A lot of people helping each other.
It wasn't. That's what I said. We were talking yesterday. You didn't see a lot of trees down. The trees that would fall into power lines and that knocks out power. I didn't see a lot of trees. I saw trees uprooted.
Uprooted, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a difference.
I saw that on Courtney Campbell.
There's a difference. The ones that's just been too much water and they just fall over. The bridges themselves, I think they fared well. The Courtney Campbell was the last to open. That took until I think it was Friday. Actually, it was Saturday morning until that reopened. And I actually was watching the camera, the live camera for the Courtney Campbell.
See, I didn't know they had a live camera.
Yeah. And water
I learned
was
something right there.
Coming over like crazy.
Yeah.
And the entire, it would be the entire eastbound lane of the Courtney Campbell just had debris all over it. So it took them all of Friday to get it cleaned up to open it up on Saturday.
Okay.
But once the winds had knocked down, you got to remember, once it hits 40 miles an hour, the skyway's closed. And then anything after that, then the rest of the bridge is closed.
Well, let me tell you about this morning in downtown Clearwater. It was gridlocked with traffic. All the people trying to get over to Clearwater Beach.
Everybody's trying to get over there.
Rubberneck can see what's going on. And
well, not only that, but there are residents trying to get over there too.
Yeah, that's true. And I heard that, I don't know if, don't take it as gospel, but I heard that bridge didn't open until 4 p.m. today.
I think it's been open.
But only for residents and workers.
Right.
Not for general.
Passed it the other day, and it was bumper to bumper.
Oh.
Going across the bridge.
Downtown is nuts.
Yeah.
This morning. It was every single street was filled with traffic.
Well, like I said, there are some places that can be thankful that they're able to open. In downtown Clearwater, I think a lot of business were able to sweep up the garbage and then open the front doors. That's true. And I saw pictures of clear sky on the beach. Holy cow. I mean, the entire inside was destroyed probably. And then probably a lot more businesses like that. Yeah. I posted on Facebook a bunch of helpful links. myclearwater.com/Helene has a lot of information. Pinellas County government, FEMA, Hurricane Helene Crisis Cleanup Hotline, and disasterassistance.gov. So if you need help or you're looking to volunteer, volunteerflorida.org/volunteerconnect. Yeah.
And here she is.
And if you need help, that's what it's there for.
It is.
Don't be afraid to ask for it.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can always be turned down, but at least ask for it. That's what it's there for.
Absolutely. And our city manager has just arrived, and I'm sure she has a lot to say and talk about today. Have a seat in the seat of honor there, Jennifer. This is Jennifer Poyer, Clearwater City Manager. So, I'm going to just adjust her headset here, right here. Oh. There you go.
Thank you.
Okay.
I can hear.
Welcome. Can you hear okay?
I can hear okay.
Awesome. So I prepared all these lovely questions for our city manager, and I don't think we're going to discuss any of them because what happened?
We had a storm.
Just to say the least. Mm-hmm. So I bet you've been busy.
I have.
Just a guess. So
yeah, you can probably see it on my face. I know I'm. I look tired. I am,
Yes.
but I'm blessed in comparison to what we've seen out there, and I feel privileged to be able to work alongside these teams and help bring us back.
Absolutely.
So I'll take being tired any day.
Can you give us like a little picture of what Clearwater is going through right now?
It's hard to describe because whereas, when I first showed up out on the beach right after the storm and, sun had barely come up, it was just total destruction out there. And
really?
To see and I don't mean like everything is gone. That's not what I mean, but it is devastating. Devastating is a better word than total destruction.
Okay.
And you're just, I was amazed by the power of water. That's what I remember thinking. It's just like, holy cow, like this is water,
How far up did it come? How many feet would you say the water got?
It depends on the area. I mean, but like, and that's what's just incredible as you drive around and you see the water line on some of these houses and buildings. It's incredible. I will say incredible too much, but there's just not other words that I can think of that really describe it. That and including those sand piles, the amount of sand that was pushed up. I mean, these piles out alongside the street, were 20 feet tall, and there's a bunch of them. That's what Ed
was saying. It looked like snow.
It does. So it's, but then, from what it looked like on that day to what it looks like today, you'd be like, it's not that bad. And that I don't mean that in a demeaning or, to minimize, because I mean, there's people and businesses that have so much damage done, and my heart breaks for that. But the resiliency and how amazing our team and our community has been to just, I mean, it looks like I can't believe that it's been such a short amount of time.
Everybody's coming together.
And we've made that much progress. And so, so there's a lot of positive about it as we're rebuilding, and we will rebuild, and this community comes together and is just outstanding. So
that's true. I see a lot of businesses offering free food and drink to rescue workers and volunteers, and neighbors helping neighbors clean up, and volunteers helping clean up the beach. And so I was telling everybody that I posted a bunch of links on Facebook. But let's talk about something else. What departments do you think have been mobilized the most?
We have such a all hands on deck approach.
Okay, so everybody.
But even library, so it's and because we have different departments that are helping in our call center. To just think about,
so like other departments are coming in to answer calls.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's interesting.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's an all hands on deck. And so even departments that you wouldn't necessarily think of, I can't tell you a department that's not touched. I can't tell you a department that's not participating.
So the library people don't have the day off.
No. Well, I mean, we're open now. So everybody is back. Everybody's back at work, even though, some of our facilities have damage. And so you can't operate out of there. But everybody is back. But some are, most, I would say, are dedicated to the recovery efforts in some fashion. And so that was just an example. But, police, they have an incredibly heavy lift. They've had a heavy lift. I had the opportunity to stand out with them while we were getting ready to open up Island Estates, because that was the first area that we opened up. And it was to stand out there with them and listen to, the stories for people who wanted to get out there and why they wanted to get out there, to the people who were angry because they couldn't get out there and things like that. And it's just relentless. I mean, the lines, it doesn't ever stop. And
how did Island Estates fare? Was there a lot of, we were talking about internal belongings being piled up on curbs. Yeah. Was that at Island Estates too?
Yeah. I mean, I think you have that, throughout, not every house, it's, again, it's interesting in terms of the power of the water and where it had impact and where it didn't, and the different levels in terms of what it did. So, I mean, I think, yes, absolutely. Do they have damage? But from a safety factor, that was the area that we were able to, feel like it was, we could open up safely first.
Okay.
And so we did that, but I just, significant appreciation. I could go on and on and on about the teams and what a great job that they've done. But so there's all of them. Our public utilities, how they've handled the just all the different things that when
Give
your
me one
infrastructure
example.
has that kind of an impact. Well, just being without a power, and all of our lift stations operating off of generator power, and then having damage to them, and still being able to maintain the system with very small amounts of spills. And it's remarkable. Public Works, how much sand they've moved, sanitation and solid waste in terms of how much debris and stuff like that they've also cleared out of the ways. I mean,
The Parks Department, right outside my house, I saw this woman. She was lifting these huge branches. I couldn't believe it. So
it's like I said, there's it wouldn't be fair to say what department has been impacted the most, because they're all out there, and it's miraculous the work that they've been able to accomplish and what a difference they've made in such a short amount of time.
That's wonderful. And I know the communications department is doing such a great job in providing information to people on where to get help, where to volunteer, where to donate.
Absolutely.
And thank you to them, especially.
Let's go back to the night of the storm passing by Thursday night. We knew it was about 200 miles offshore.
Yeah.
The size of the storm itself was 400 miles wide. So do the math. It's going to hit. There's going to be at least some of it. You and your team and say the mayor, was there any kind of a false sense of hope, or that maybe we passed another one passed us by, and then you wake up to see the devastating of the storm surge itself? Because I don't know, as long as I've been here, I've never seen the storm surge be that bad. I've never seen 20 feet high of sand piles on each side of the road. I've never seen that. So to me, like I said, I don't wish this, but at the time it was parallel with us. It was a category 2, so it was about 110 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It might have been better just to pass right through us, because it would have been through and that would have been it, and we wouldn't have had the storm surge away. We'd have had some wind damage, but the storm, it just pounded. So was there any kind of a false sense of hope saying, well, maybe this one passes by, we got lucky again, until you wake up and you see what the storm surge did?
Yeah. So for that night, I'll speak for myself, but I know I speak for a vast majority of our team. There was no sleeping, because we did not have that false sense. We were paying attention to the emergency management messages that were coming out, and in terms of the storm surge. And I mean, they said it. That's why we had the evacuation, is because there was a significant storm surge prediction. And they had been, and as had we been messaging that, the 5 to 8 feet, and showing what that looks like, as well as comparison to other storms, what that would be. So from our perspective, once those models were in line and showing that, we didn't let our guard down. We were just watching and praying that what was going to be left, and that people heeded that warning. And I was not on the front line, and I can only imagine what it was like for our first responders to be getting those calls when there was not anything that we could do because the conditions, we couldn't. And so, to answer your question, no, we did not have a false sense of security. And there wasn't sleeping that night, because we feared that what was predicted to happen was going to happen. And so we were watching that and standing ready to be able to respond as soon as we could.
Well, I think from the view of a resident, they had a false sense of security.
I agree with.
Because, in times past, we always hear about the storm surge. It'd be 5 or 8 feet. And then they wake up in the morning, to throw out my area rug. It got wet, and nobody was expecting what was going to happen with the sand and the water.
That's years and years of news forecasts that are blown up out of proportion.
Sure.
And then we wake up the next day and there's a few branches down.
I don't remember a storm being this powerful that just ran parallel.
Mm-hmm.
And with the way it's turning, it's pushing everything up. In other words, I can't remember whether it was Charlie, whatever, what came through, it came through, it pushed water in, and then it pushed water out. We had the entire bay was dry.
Yeah, I
you
remember
almost
that.
walked across the bay. So it goes in and it goes out, but this was just a constant pounding. And although the storm did pass through rather fast, the outer bands that were with was still hitting us on Friday.
Oh yeah, and then the high tides, so we felt the high tides and stuff like that as well. So, I've been asked a lot in terms of, do I think other, people will heed the warning, and how do we, message that? And I think by what people will see, what happened, and hearing these stories of that's never happened before, I think that will make a difference.
I think so too.
And then also just making sure people are educated about, what evacuation means and when you get to go back. And I know it's frustrating to not, you leave and then you're not allowed back. And that is something that keeps people away. But with the amount of destruction that was with this, and they tell you, you hide from the wind, you run from the water, and so hoping that they do that, and then us just making sure that we educate in terms of how quickly, we open things back up to get the residents and the businesses back into their property. So because I know that's where they want to be, and that can be a level of frustration. And so I hope that how we've messaged it and showed the pictures and keeping people up to date in terms of what the conditions are out there has made a difference, and will provide a sense of security so people will feel comfortable in evacuating.
Sure it will. Yeah, and there were mandatory evacuations on the beach and in mobile homes. And did everybody pay attention to them? Do you know?
No, I would say certainly we did not have 100% compliance, but we did. People did heed, not necessarily right when they, when the message was delivered, but throughout. I think as it went on, and then as the tides were rising, you saw the water coming up. People were also. So I think a good amount. I don't have numbers in terms of percentages, how many actually did, but there absolutely were people who evacuated.
Right. And what about in Horseshoe Beach? You've seen these pictures of completely leveled homes, and every single house there had some damage. We are very lucky in that didn't happen here. But
was there any landmarks that were just right? I know in places like Safety Harbor, they lost their pier that's been around for so long, but I had Pier 60. Did that?
Pier 60 is
okay?
No, it's got significant damage. So we have our marina sustained significant damage, our beach library and the beach rec center. So we certainly have some city properties that are damaged, and we're working to get those back up and running as soon as possible.
Is there reserve money to pay for that?
Yeah, there are, and there's going to be FEMA assistance, and we have insurance and all of that. So but this is why you have the reserves that you do for the rainy day.
Absolutely.
I saw on Edgewater Drive
boats.
Yeah,
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, that's just so surreal when you don't expect that. You really don't. I mean, the nearest marina is Dunedin, but still, you just don't expect to drive there, and you see a boat halfway into the right-hand lane, hanging over the edge there. And there's one that's still there. I don't know if the owners knows it's gone, but
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. This is our assistant city manager, Dan Slaughter. Come on in and join us. I've got a chair here, but let me
You got a break real quick, right?
Oh yeah.
Sure, okay.
There you go.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
In 1955, the law firm now known as Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes made a decision. Instead of taking whatever cases came through their doors, they decided to focus specifically on personal injury. 64 years later, the law firm is one of Clearwater's longest-running personal injury firms. Available 24 hours a day with offices in Clearwater and throughout Tampa Bay, they're ready to put decades of experience to work for you if you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or injured due to someone's negligence or recklessness. If you feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or unsure about your next steps after being involved in an accident or after a loved one sustained serious injuries due to someone else's negligence, call Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes at 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. That's 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. Non-attorney spokesman.
Shop the largest selection of Guy Harvey apparel, artwork, and gift items at GuyHarvey.com. From the world-renowned marine wildlife artist, the Guy Harvey online shop features the latest in performance apparel, classic Guy Harvey t-shirts, decor for every room in your home, exquisite ocean-inspired jewelry, and unique gift items. including custom merchandise not available anyplace else. Browse an extensive catalog of original Guy Harvey works of art and a full range of beautiful reproductions. As with all Guy Harvey merchandise, a percentage of sales benefits the ocean conservation, research, and education work of the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation. The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation will help ensure that future generations can enjoy and benefit from a well-balanced ocean ecosystem. Bring the undersea world into your everyday life at GuyHarvey.com.
Just about everyone is fascinated by the mafia. Books and movies like The Godfather, Goodfellas, Casino, and many others became bestsellers and box office hits. Did you know that a century ago, mobsters like Al Capone discovered Florida's tropical climate and sparse law enforcement? Mafia bosses from around the nation began setting up illegal operations in Florida. Now, for the first time, a new book titled Sunshine State Mafia, A History of Florida's Mobsters, Hitmen, and Wise Guys provides vivid stories and never-before-seen images of dangerous criminals who settled in Florida full or part-time. Written by renowned author Doug Kelly, Sunshine State Mafia exposes the hidden history of the mob throughout the state and includes Doug's own brushes with crime figures. Sunshine State Mafia is available at all major book retailers, or obtain a signed copy by calling 727-724-4949 or email sunshinestatemafia@gmail.com.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Thanks for listening to the Kelly Kelly Show. I'm Kelly Kelly. I'm here with Big Ed Davis and City Manager of Clearwater, Jennifer Poyer. And we just had a surprise guest, Assistant City Manager of Clearwater, Dan Slaughter. And welcome.
Thank you.
Have you been getting sleep?
I got a little bit yesterday.
How about you, Jennifer?
No, but it's normal for me.
It's normal for you.
It is normal for me. Yes, I'm an insomniac. I do well on little sleep, and this is the time that's a good
That's a
habit to
good
have.
thing.
Yeah, it's a
right
good,
about now.
Yep.
So, yes, do you have anything you want to add? Either one of you about what's going on, where to get help, how to volunteer, any of that?
So we have all of that. One of the things I know that we're getting a lot of calls on because there's another storm out there, and that we're monitoring. Certainly not, we're hopeful that it turns into nothing, but we are aware that there's a storm out there and we've got a lot of debris. And so our crews have been out there picking up debris, but we actually have our contractor that's going to make the first debris pass. Storm
I didn't
debris.
even think of that.
Yeah.
I didn't even touch my yard.
Starting tomorrow. So
But I need to, because that is flying javelins.
It is, certainly want to, as much as we can. I mean, out in the affected areas, it's not as easy. But one of the messages that we're really trying to make sure that everybody gets is to have the piles separated. That will make the crews that are coming out, because they're picking up different things at different times. It'll make that go faster if your piles are actually separated.
Explain that for just a moment.
I will give the specifics.
I'll jump in. Yeah, all these things end up going to different places, right? And they have to be handled in a certain way. And there's regulatory rules on how they have to be, both state and federal. So the piles will need separated. You have your vegetation pile, which is that lawn debris, that the palm fronds, the tree branches, all of that stuff that's kind of that organic plant material is just one pile. And then you have your demolition pile, which is your construction debris, your drywall, your furniture, all your type of stuff that's coming out of that house as you're getting rid of that wet wood or wet product. And then you have your, what they call the white goods, or your appliances. So you have those and separate those in a different pile.
Oh my goodness.
And then there's even another pile that has for some of the hazardous waste, like your paint cans and stuff like that. And so if you go to our website, you'll see a little graphic that really does a great job of laying it out. And I couldn't be, more pleased with what the work that the team's done, and the community. I mean, the community has really gone out there. They are getting their stuff out of the house. They are working really rapidly, and we want to support that. So we're really happy that we're going to be able to make our first pass for the demolition, commercial, or the construction type debris tomorrow morning, which is much quicker than we originally thought it was going to be.
Okay.
So we're able to mobilize that contractor and get them on board and get them moving. The other thing that's unique about this particular one is the sand. We've never, ever had the volume of sand that we're dealing with. And currently right now, all your public parking lots in Clearwater Beach are pretty much full of piles. And I'm talking 8 feet high piles of sand.
Wow.
That was all on the roadways. The staff had rapidly moved it off those roadways. They got them in these pile. Our contractor has arrived with a sifter today so that we can start processing that sand. And it's a very specific way you got to process it. You got to have a permit to do it. So we're going to sift it. We're going to test it. And we're going to make sure that that sand is clean. And we hope to return it back to its rightful belonging place of the beach.
Back to the beach you go.
Yeah.
That is great. But what could be in the sand if it's not sifted?
Well, you're going to have other construction debris, glass. It's been mixed out with all the things that were spread out in the community. And of course, there's all those other contaminants that were just floating around when you have this giant, waves that are hitting houses and cars and homes and
businesses.
So if you live on the beach, do not take a shovel and start shoveling sand back on the beach.
Well, for our residential customers, we're more than happy to have them do those pile separations we talk about. We're going to take care of all that. Our commercial tenants or commercial owners, they have a process that they take care of it in themselves. And,
Very good.
They use professional services or their own professional.
I want to push back to the our website. It's a lot of information. If you just go to myclearwater.com, right on the top banner, it has storm information, and it's overwhelming how much is there. But the search engine works really well, and so that's where you have your. It will go into specifics about the debris management and how to sort that, and all the information about that. It'll also have information about volunteer opportunities, how to request help. And you mentioned we've got some great partners that have gone out to volunteer for donating food and stuff like that. All of that information, along with the city's recovery efforts, is on our website. So it's a lot, but like I said, the search engine works really well up there and really direct you to go and look at that. And if you have a question that you don't see there, let me know.
Okay,
it's a challenge.
There's also information on where to go if you need food.
And back to those piles once again. I know there's one for electronics too. And specifically lithium batteries, don't just throw them in the piles. Those still have to be disposed of properly, because as we know, batteries and salt water don't mix well.
Correct.
So
very true.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's also information on Pinellas Government, their website. You can find all these things online by searching for myclearwater.com. or Pinellas Government or FEMA. I also posted some information about FEMA, disasterassistance.gov. And let's get back to Jennifer Poyer, City Manager, and Dan Slaughter, Assistant City Manager of Clearwater. And is there anything else you would like to add that maybe I haven't thought of?
No, I just want to start with the team. Our crews are absolutely outstanding. It's nothing short of miraculous what they have accomplished, what they continue to accomplish. They are dedicated, and what they've given up in terms of not working on their own homes and times away from their family and stuff like that. It's a big lift, and they do so. It's not effortlessly, but it comes across as that. And they've got a smile on their face most of the time, and just really want to extend the just in awe levels of gratitude and appreciation for what they've accomplished. And the same thing to this community. It's a resilient community and a generous community. And that, we get so many calls about how do I help, and people just out there helping their neighbors and helping the businesses recover. And we will do that. And that's not to take away from the devastation and the destruction that occurred from this. It's significant. But there's no doubt that, we'll be back in a short amount of time, shorter than I think if you saw the initial pictures of what it looked like, you'll be impressed with how quickly that we come back. It's not going to be immediate. I don't want to set the expectation that's going to be immediate, but it's going to be quick. And that's just
but the progress so far, I was amazed at how quickly streets were cleaned. Debris piles have already been picked up. So if I haven't got my branches cleaned up yet, do I still have time?
Yes, and depending on where you live in your city, as you know, we've always picked up, some lawn debris and vegetation and tree branches and all that stuff. And we're trying to create a sense of normalcy after this. So we're still using our regular service to pick that up. Now, there's a lot more than there usually is. So like today, their route, they got about 35% through the route today, and they're just going to pick up where they left off yesterday. But we did a couple extra collections in the harder hit areas where it was, more pronounced, so that we could make sure that we got in front of that. So if you're just put your stuff out at no later than your regular pickup day, which I hope is not Monday or Tuesday. Hopefully it's Thursday, and we'll be perfect.
Awesome.
I noticed in the last couple of months, and everybody did, if you live around in the downtown Clearwater area and some of the neighborhoods that branch out, there's been a massive change out of utility poles in the area. Did that come in handy with the storm?
That's difficult to say. I mean, a storm like this, we've known each other a long time. You were here with Irma when we went through Irma, and Irma was a very serious power event as well. We were out of power for up to 2 weeks at some places in the city. And I think this one, I think our expectations are that it could be similar. I mean, we don't know, but I can't. Miss Poyer's been on the phone with Duke on a regular occasion several times a day, and they've made phenomenal progress even today. And I can't be thankful enough. I'm sure those hardening poles made differences to some areas, but there are certainly areas that we don't want to minimize, and not that there's still some people out there suffering without power.
I noticed a lot of trucks from Port Huron, Michigan, from Extreme Electrical Contractors. They were in quite a few of those were in the area last few days.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I did read today that 6,000 people are still without power, and is that Clearwater? Or is that Pinellas?
Yeah. I mean, at 2:00, the report I had was Clearwater. Now, when they say Clearwater, it doesn't always just mean because their service area that they call Clearwater doesn't include Sankey, but includes like Oldsmobile Safety Harbor. But it was 7,100, wasn't it, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's good. That's huge progress because a significant number were without power, including me. How about you? You both live in Clearwater. Did you go without power?
I did not.
Oh,
I almost
that's
felt
good.
guilty saying that.
It's the bad part of the story is I did not. And in my house, fortunately, I don't know why, I'm just lucky. It never seems to lose power, but I never get the benefit of it because I'm always here working for this lady.
And that's a good thing. The city needs both of you. So what have I missed? No dead air.
Now I think
Give me something.
Yeah, I feel like we've covered it, and just want to continue to to push to the resources.
Are there any restrictions on the roadways or anything right now? Is everything opened up, or is it still a little cautious here and there?
So we are not open yet. The beaches, the access is restricted to people who live out there. That is correct.
I had incorrect information. I thought it was open to everybody at 4. And I was downtown this morning, and it was gridlocked.
Yes.
Did you notice that yourself?
Yes, I did.
I had to think for a minute. I'm like, this is only Monday, right? So no. So what the opening is for Tuesday.
Tuesday
at 4.
Particular time at 4?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. Okay, so please do not flood downtown with all these cars. If you want to go see the beach, just wait until after 4 p.m.
Actually, we'd rather you wait.
You wait.
Yeah.
Straight from the horse's mouth.
It's one of the things we want the businesses to be supported. We want to get back to normal, but we are still in restoration mode, and there's a lot of heavy equipment out there, and Duke is out there restoring power, and so we don't want crowds and traffic to impede that progress. And so if you have a reason to be out there, then understood. But
that makes sense. Now is not the time to go sunbathe and swim.
We'd rather you watch the progress online. Lots of opportunities to do that.
A lot of people want to run down there and take photos and stuff. And you
have a live cam.
You're getting in.
Our cameras are
the live cams. Yeah. You have a beach cam, and you said a Courtney Canby.
Well, the Courtney Campbell,
I didn't know that has a camera. And where else are there cameras?
Well, there's one on the Hilton, and the city, I think, broadcasts one that shows the roundabout area.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a good opportunity to see what's going on.
You can rubberneck online on the web.
Exactly.
Live webcams. Okay.
It's worth noting, though, that there's still work to be done, and I don't know how much there's traffic lights that are out.
Okay.
So we've put up 4-way stop signs. And one thing I learned in Irma, that everybody that drives in this area got a C- in driver's education because nobody knew what to do when they came up to a traffic light that wasn't working. But very important that they treat that as a 4-way stop. And that's what we've essentially done with the intersections out there. Now we're making great progress. We basically having to rebuild every traffic box because of the saltwater intrusion. And this staff has been turning over, and it's a tough rebuild. The splicing of the wires that they have to do to make it work, and they're doing one a day, and they're popping them out just like a phenomenal job. We had a very smart employee. these are the things that I find amazing, that they really don't get the credit that they get. And one of our employees, boots on the ground, worker B, decided when we replaced some cabinets with some new ones to keep the old ones just in case we needed spares.
Mm-hmm.
And so now these ones that are these spares, until we can get the new ones that have a longer lead time, they're flipping them out and putting them in and putting the old ones back in, and it's getting us up and running faster than I would have ever thought.
Wow.
And I noticed something else that was pretty ingenious there. I don't know who thought this one up, but there's some traffic lights at some intersections that were out, and I was passing through, and then hours would go by, and then all of a sudden the lights were working. I'm like, oh, the power's back on, and I look down, and there's a generator there, heavily chained to the pole, of course, with about 3 locks on it. But the generator was able to power the traffic lights. I'd never seen that before.
Yeah, your traffic lights have a battery backup system, but it certainly only gives you so much time, correct? And so in Irma, when we had many intersections out because of a power failure, we learned, we got better, we stockpiled generators, and the traffic operations team, phenomenal job with a refueling plan. They just make sure that those generators stay topped off. It saves our police resources. Mm-hmm. It certainly is safer than treating it as a 4-way stop when that light's operational. And so there's been a lot of great work.
Anything we've learned from this yet? Because I still can't get the picture of the mounds of sand on each side of the road looking like snow. And I've never seen surge that bad. But is there anything we've learned from this? We try to learn something from every storm that passes through. We might do better. Is there anything you can think of?
I think I personally learned the power of the surge. And so I want to,
perfect. Yeah.
That's the lesson.
I think that's one thing we're going to take seriously, a little more serious. And I remember before Katrina hit, every time you heard hurricane, you heard party right after it.
Yeah.
And then Katrina hit and everybody went, whoa, this is serious. And I think when you hear, well, current hurricane isn't going to hit us, but there's going to be a storm surge. That doesn't mean, like I said, doesn't mean you're going to throw out your area rug, but there's going to be damage. And I think people will take that, and that will maybe get these people out of their homes a little faster.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But I want to address one last thing that was on the My Clearwater website: speeding. Now, Dan, you were a former chief of police for Clearwater.
Mm-hmm.
So have you noticed any increased speeding?
I can't say that I have, because I'm not necessarily in a position to see it anymore.
Okay.
Now, I will say that, we have been monitoring the traffic cameras, and certainly there are those instances where we're seeing people that are not necessarily being as cautious as we like. And to Ms. Poyer's point earlier about all the heavy work out there, right? I mean, I got some employees that are busting their bottoms just trying to clean up this sand, driving a giant front loader, and it's the pedestrian, the car traffic that I'm just worried about getting in and mingled with them.
Absolutely.
And so we really need people to be mindful of that and need to drive very cautiously, patiently, and really just be good defensive drivers.
Yeah, that sludge that washes up on shore and on the roadways is very, very, very slick. I mean, once you hit that, it's like black ice kind of, yeah. Anyway, we got about a minute left.
Okay. Well, any last words for residents?
Thank you. And, for everything, for all their efforts, and for being patient and kind.
That's important.
Yeah.
Everybody is stressed out.
Correct.
And it doesn't matter why. Damage, health, no AC, no power. Try to be kind and patient. People are working hard to get us up and running. Right?
100%. That's what I would say. Thank you to the community. I mean, they've not only have they been very kind, but they've really done some good work on their own.
They have.
And they are certainly just people we're glad to be able to work alongside of them.
Absolutely. People have really come together, I think. Okay. Thank you to Jennifer Poyer and Assistant Manager Dan Zephyrhills for being guests today on the Kelly Kelly Show, and tune in next week as well.